My lords and sisters, there's been some absolutely brilliant speeches today, and after the first 4 speeches, Baroness Vere and her optimism, and Baroness Gale with cold hard facts, and Baroness Northover with her calm, concise clarity, and Lady Boycott with her passion and sincerity, I ran back to my office to rewrite my own speech because I thought I can't compete with any of those speeches. And then when I got to my office and I started casting around to find some things I wanted to say, I suddenly thought I don't have to compete. All I have to do is support what I've heard and collaborate and be part of a debate that is incredibly important in today's world, because it's about a century since women got the vote. In 1918 for women with property, in 1928 for all women. But it's still an unequal society, and women are still being left behind. And the statistics speak for themselves. Women still don't have equal pay. Women don't have equal representation, whether we're talking about Westminster or boardrooms. 1 in 4 women is subjected to domestic violence during her lifetime. And the number of rape cases and domestic assault cases that come to courts is abysmally low. And this is something as a society we should be utterly ashamed of. And of course, many cases are never reported, because why bother if it's going to take years for them to come to court? And levels of violence against women and girls is at epidemic proportions, and there's strong evidence that the media's sexist portrayal of women is part of the problem. Now, of course, the government could do a lot about this, and possibly has done some things, but there is a lot left to do. And my noble friend Lord Sicker was actually, he tweeted today something quite useful. He tweeted about the government policies against women, and he talked about the gender pay, pension gap, lower state pension, unpaid carers, real wage benefit cuts. Majority public sector workers and benefit recipients are female. And we have heard of these issues in the speeches that we've heard today, and it is a sad reflection on 14 years of Tory government that they haven't tried to equalise society in a way that only governments can. And of course, on the issue of our climate crisis, it is more often women who suffer. They're more likely to die in a climate disaster, be displaced by climate change, or die from pollution. They are not inherently more vulnerable, but intersections between sex, power dynamics, socio-economic structures, and societal norms and expectations result in climate impacts being experienced very differently by women. In many countries, women more often grow food for their families on small plots and are vulnerable to small changes in rainfall or soil quality. Sex inequality also intersects with discrimination based on other aspects of identity: class, age, disability, sexual orientation and gender identity, ethnicity and religion. And all of these multiply the impacts of climate change. Now, when I was casting around to think, what shall I say, I looked at my noble friend Lady Bennett's speech from last year, and I thought, well, it's a really good one, so I'm going to take some of it. And I thought I wouldn't bother telling anyone, and then I thought, actually, she might notice. So, and she said last year, when we think about food systems and the health and economic well-being of women and girls, we also need to think about the way in which the financial sector plays against it. When the overwhelmingly male-dominated financial markets expand, under current arrangements, the rest of the world suffers. This is a threat to women and girls around the planet, to their chances of having a healthy diet and a livable world. The financial sector is a parasite, and we need strong medicine to stop it sucking the lifeblood out of this planet, particularly from the well-being of women and girls. The financial sector funds big agriculture, the handful of companies in seeds, agrochemicals and industrial giant-scale agriculture, which all too often robs the women and girls of this planet of their land, fresh water supplies and current food systems, and of their choice of a more sustainable, secure life. If we care about women, it isn't enough to talk. We actually do have to act. And I do think that noble lords here today do probably act in their own lives to make things more equal for women. And when I first got into politics, it was because of a fluke in our electoral system. And after the first year that I was an Assembly member, the Evening Standard did a sort of a view of everybody on the London Assembly and how good they were, and I actually came bottom of the poll. 2 years later, I was Deputy Mayor of London, and 2 years after that, I was actually helping the Mayor of London bring in all sorts of measures, multi-million-pound measures. And so we can do the most amazing things, but we have to change the world. And we are all capable of it, but I think that cooperation amongst ourselves is a big part of that.